What was there a problem with that?
Yes, there's a problem with that because it seems to me that you don't understand that that is like literally the catalyst for causing the crime in the first place.
What? So if they don't,
It's cyclic.
It's just so hilarious. Like literally, I've never seen anything like this. Jake says something. T-Jump says, "I agree." Then Jake stops and says, "Oh fuck."
You're supposed to disagree with me.
This is a Black Lives Matter debate. And he said all lives matter. That means he's a secret racist Nazi. I must destroy him. I can't let him agree with me on anything. How do I attack him?
Stop agreeing with me, you motherfucker.
Not a felon, and then they do a crime and they get arrested and they become a felon.
Right, but sometimes like a felony is something like a drug offense, right? So like the drug war is
there's totally,
particularly pointed.
Absolutely.
Right,
the war on drugs is horribly immoral.
So your solution to that is to continue to do the thing. You just said, okay, so what would your solution be in order to reduce?
Now we've changed the solution. We can't even agree on the numbers. Now we've already moved on to solutions. Like, come on.
It's funny too because he wanted to say this is all like that narrative about it all being the war on drugs and that kind of thing. And Tom jumps like, no, I hate it's completely immoral, the war on drugs. What? He agrees with me on that too? I'm dying here.
He's like in the war on drugs.
We have a Streamlab person who's changed her name to Jake's Wet Cornhole.
Oh my god! No.
For $1 says creamed corn. Yee.
Oh no, no. I'm sure Jake will debate us after this stream.
And correct the policies.
But the police are the people that carry out those sentences, and then they often end up in violent.
Now the police carry out the sentences. Come on, Jake.
They're executing people on the street. They're carrying out the sentence. Judge Dredd is already here.
They're not carrying out the sentences. Jake, at least act like you understand the complexities of this situation, okay?
Well, it's funny because C-Jump gives a very great response. He's like, well, the problem isn't the police, it's the policies about, the drug war.
Yeah,
like,
the drug war,
police,
exactly.
Yeah, like, the police aren't the ones writing the law to make drugs legal or not. Okay, obviously.
There's a reason they call them law enforcement as opposed to like legislators.
They're not called law
makers.
Writers, okay?
Exactly.
Law makers.
Yeah.
They're called law enforcers.
Yeah, it's very different. See?
Altercations due to the reasons that I cited before.
So
that is objectively one of the problems. It's literally the problem.
That's proportional. Remember, that's the proportional amount of deaths to the amount of crime. The problem is the policies, the bad policies, like the war on drugs. If we end that, that's going to solve a lot of the problems. And so we should end the policies in Washington. Yes, ending the police.
Can you imagine if Black Lives Matter took up like ending the war on drugs instead?
Yeah, well, this is the problem. Is that
wouldn't it be great?
Sure if you press them, they'll agree with that. But then too much of their that's not what they focus on. Too much of the focus is on the police are all individual racists cutting down innocent black people in the streets.
Poor stoners are the ones that get the brunt of this because there's more violent crime in the black communities. Right. So the police go to the black communities to end the violent crime, which I don't know how you could be against that. Like if you got violent crime around your home, you want that to stop, right? And a byproduct of this is the fucking poor stoner. He gets out of his car, he drops a joint on the ground. The next thing you know, he's going to jail for a non-violent drug offense, right? Just because these neighborhoods are getting shot up. It's in the war on drugs, and you in the poor non-violent drug offenders who are getting caught up in all this nonsense.
Right, and as we talked about, I mean, so much of it also is tied into gangs because gangs make money through
selling drugs. Yeah,
selling drugs, and so if you cut out that source of income, you're gonna hurt a lot of the gang's ability to recruit people and pay people.
Exactly. Yep.
Who support the policies isn't the problem. The problem is the policies, not the police.
It literally is the problem, and they're telling you it's the problem, and it bears out.
Cogent comeback. Destroyed.
Well, it's so funny. It's like they're telling you. I assume he's talking about like people in communities being policed, and it's like, well, okay, obviously, people are people put a face on their problems, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
So they're
that
only
cop
going
looked
to
at me funny,
right? No, but like they're going to obviously put the emotional weight of the problem on the face that represents their, quote unquote oppression, like the person enforcing the law. They're not going to fixate on the guy writing the legislation who they don't know and they don't ever see. And that's why you don't listen and just believe the crowd of people, Adam, because they're not in the best place to make widespread policy changing decisions because they don't often know what the problem is. And they're just having a quick emotional reaction to something in their life. And that's why you have to think about things and pause and say, what's the real problem here?
I'm curious how many white people have not interacted with an asshole cop. Because, I mean, I'm white and I've interacted with tons of asshole cops.
Right.
Like, come on. It's not a unique experience to black people, okay? Cops can be fucking assholes.
I mean, that's the Joe Rogan point is that he's had lots of bad interactions with police.
Sure.
And he says, well, if I was black, I would assume it's because the cop is racist.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
What?
You said it is the problem? Like the policies are the problem.
The police specifically carrying out other policies are the problem. So the policies don't exist in a vacuum, right? You have to have someone to...
So does he think the police should just be like, no, I've decided as a police officer that I will no longer enforce drug laws? Like, is this what he's advocating for?
I have no idea. It's funny that we've started responding to these guys over Jordan Peterson, and they constantly threw the Jordan Peterson word salad thing out because I think we're getting close to a word salad here. I don't necessarily know what Jake is saying.
This is classic, the most classic example I've ever seen of cognitive dissonance of someone who knows, I believe, I'm mind reading here, but someone who I think knows that they're losing the plot, losing an argument. So they're just trying to like string together anything vaguely coherent.
Well, they're failing miserably. Jake is not being coherent at all here.
This is very interesting. This is what happens when you're in a debate with someone and you're too emotionally focused on disagreeing with them instead of listening to them and understanding what your position is.
Yes,
because
discussions are better for that.
Right, because if he was approaching this honestly, he would just say, "Well, I agree with what you're saying," and move on. But he doesn't, so he looks like an idiot.
Have someone to carry out these bad policies.
I mean, looking more like an idiot than you would wearing a fucking corn cob costume.
Yeah. Jake is a communist too, which adds a whole nother level of irony.
A whole nother dimension of this, yes.
So if you fix the policies,
they can't carry them out if the policies are gone.
It seems as though they can carry them out because there are a lot.
What?
If we got rid of drug laws, cops would still be in the streets rounding up drug offenders just because.
The look on T-Jump's face right now, for those of you who are just listening, is like, what the fuck did you just say? I'm talking to a moron here.
A lot of unjustified killings, and you agree, whether it's white people or black people, that they deem are justified that have no repercussion to the police at all. So you seem to think that
So wait a minute. This is the word salad logic that you're talking about.
Totally.
Okay. So T-Jump's point is if we got rid of policy like the war on drugs, then the police wouldn't be interacting with these people who shouldn't be they shouldn't be interacting with in the first place unless they wouldn't be victims of violence or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Jake's response is, yes, but you already admitted that the police unjustifiably shoot some people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what the fuck? There's literally nothing to do with the point. Unless he's suggesting that if say drugs were legalized or decriminalized.
Mm-hmm.
So does Jake think that the incidence of police shooting people wrongly is going to increase dramatically to fill in the gap of people they were interacting with because of drug crimes?
I'm sorry. I know this is not a nonviolent. I'm sorry. I know this isn't a violent offense that you're committing here, but I have my quota of shootings that I have to perform. So I'm sorry, but this parking ticket has to be accelerated to an actual shooting. Can you run from me or something?
And it's funny because I think like last year there was only 9 black unarmed people shot by the police.
9, huh? Okay.
It's like it's more likely for you to be struck by lightning than it is for you to be shot by the police.
That's my thing. Is there seems to be a consistent case of screw ups by the number of violent crimes. So if violent crime goes down, screw ups go down as well.
Right.
Yeah. So that would be a step in the right direction. Like Tom Jump's whole argument is that screw up quota is consistent. How do you get around that screw up quota? I mean, they're completely co-opting the screw ups for a racial narrative, which how can you not define that as morally disgusting?
It is morally disgusting because they don't care. They have a narrative. The narrative is racism.
That's exactly it. It's not a coherent narrative. It's just racism.
So according to the National Weather Service, 49 people on average are killed per year in the United States by lightning.
49 people? Jeez,
Yes.
Stay inside.
So, and I believe last year it was 9 black unarmed people were killed by the police and 22 unarmed white people were killed by the police.
Sitch, why are you putting this into perspective?
More people were killed by lightning than unarmed people shot by the police last year.
How many businesses were burned down by lightning?
By lightning.
And how many businesses were burned down by Black Lives Matter rioters?
But that's a good question. How many fires were started by lightning? Maybe California throws the curve off.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yes.
We've had a lot of businesses burned by lightning.
Yes.
On one hand, it's justified that they police these policies in a way that actively harms black people, and you agree. And on the other hand, you say they have obviously unjustified killings but face no repercussions, and you think that's a policy issue and not a police issue. And it's very strange to me that you don't think that that's obviously a policing issue when they are the police.
Jake, if you had listened to his goddamn motherfucking argument,
I know.
You'd know exactly his stance on this. He's saying that, yes, the police fuck up on a regular basis, okay? It's a policing issue. But they don't fuck up in a racially biased way. They're killing everyone out there. That's his whole argument.
It's crazy.
Police and the way it's organized.
I totally agree there are police issues, but the police issues are an all lives matter thing. This doesn't disproportionately affect African Americans, like I said earlier.
It does.
Destroyed.
Does disproportionately affect
proportional to the crime. So the amount of cops here commit murder illegally, proportional to the amount of crime there, and the amount of cops here commit murder illegally, proportional to the amount of crime there. There isn't like a racial divide there. It's just the amount of crime divide there. And the issue is the policies. If we fix the policies, like more body cams, like something else I mentioned that Black Lives Matter is advocating for, getting rid of the qualified immunity, that would also be a good thing. That's something that Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, he's saying if you push the crime down, the fuck-ups will go down with him because the fuck-ups are completely proportional to the crime. Jake's like, my brain is broken.
They won't, because if they push the crime down,
that's bullshit.
Look, if they push the crime, down, Adam, the cops, as you said, they have their quota of racist shooting.
We have 9 people we have to kill this year, and we've only killed 4. God damn it!
Yeah, it's like
you're dying for this parking ticket.
Okay, look, this is how it happens. Okay, there's actually a nationwide raffle that cops have to attend every year. And it's like they put every cop's badge number in one of those like giant like
gotta kill somebody.
Wheels.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, not roulette. It's like the the lottery with the little balls come up in like the air thing. And they have like an attractive lady comes in and she has to pull out. They're like, okay, the first cop who's going to kill an unarmed black man this year is, and they pull out the badge and they're like, oh, there you go. Now remember, in the month of January, you must kill at least one unarmed black person to maintain the proper racial quota.
So bad.
That's how it happens, guys.
Is advocating for. There's lots of good policy changes we need to stop the police, but just stopping the police isn't the issue. It's the policies.
Yeah, he's basically saying if the war on drugs were ended, then the violent crime associated with that would go down.
It's not proportional. I know you keep saying that, but it's not proportional. Like, for instance, if you have a couple children and you keep your eye on one of the children and you don't keep your eye on the other one of the children, the odds that both are doing bad stuff.
So now he's making the argument that the white people are committing violent crimes secretly.
There's like this whole epidemic of white crime going on. That
white
is going
violent
completely
crime.
Unreported. Yeah, white violent crime that is going on unreported, unpoliced, and just disappeared into the ether.